The sun has left and forgotten.
Your stories don't define you. How you tell them will. Hi, I'm Sarah Elkins, your host and chief story maker at Elkins Consulting. I could tell you I'm an engaging speaker, that I create an environment of safety, fun, and curiosity with my keynote and workshops, but that doesn't make it compelling or even true. Instead, I'll share a story about the 90-minute Storytelling for Professionals workshop I hosted in March in Bozeman, Montana, for the Women in Business Conference. At the end of the workshop, there was a long line of women waiting to buy a copy of my book and have me sign it, and nearly every woman stopped to hug me on their way out of the room. Every professional benefits when they can share a story that demonstrates their character, their skills, and their vision. And that's what this podcast is all about, guiding my guests and listeners to uncover pivotal moments in their lives and careers that can become useful stories, that can create meaningful connections with their employees, their interviewers, any audience, really. Today's episode is inspired by my friend Jeff Eichler's Substack entry for Friday, May 30th. Which was actually somewhat inspired by my podcast episode a couple of weeks ago when I talked about why I believe the word authenticity has been hijacked. Jeff's Substack is about how he's finding the courage to take a solo trip to Europe. Despite his discomfort of being alone, he's exploring World War I and World War II historic sites across Europe. Here's some of what he said that resonated with me. As someone who studies the why of past historical behaviors and events, I've sensed there's a deeper causal factor behind my aversion to traveling solo, and more so, being alone. It's like how astronomers suspect the existence of a massive unseen planet in our solar system because the gravitational pull of something far out in deep space is impacting the orbits of known celestial bodies. Astronomers can't see it, but they sense it's there because of the impact it has. That's what my sense feels like, something unseen in my past holding me back. In my work as a storytelling coach, I'm often the one to help my clients uncover those events and experiences that have contributed to their internal messages, the stories that can then help them move forward from the labels and fears maybe they're holding on to. And the benefit isn't just to them to change those internal messages, but when my clients share those pivotal moments, those stories, they become more relatable and inspiring to audiences, whether that's for a job interview, speaking up at work, or speaking in front of any group. Uncovering those stories is helpful, but not absolutely necessary for forward movement. As Jeff mentions, sometimes it's more about avoiding regret than about uncovering past trauma. He wrote, "I'm 74. I can no longer afford to let distant periods of discomfort and whatever caused them reign over who I am." I think a lot about legacy, especially over the past few years as I've said goodbye to far too many friends and attended way too many memorial services and celebrations of life. But reading Jeff's Substack put something else in perspective for me. When I think of legacy, I think about how I want to be remembered. I consider this in the context of how I think of the people I've lost, what my father left behind, how we describe him in our family, what his grandchildren remember about him, and what I hear from people outside of my family who knew him. It's always in my head. What is the legacy I want to leave? Are my actions, behaviors, and words in alignment with that legacy? Who do I support in my work, in the money I spend, how I show up for the issues that matter to me? Who do I admire and respect, and why? And who is in my inner circle? Who am I aligned with? Are they kind? Are they thoughtful? Who are they aligned with? because you can tell a lot about a person by the people in their inner circles. What I know for sure is that my thoughts about legacy have to be integrated with another aspect of living this one beautiful, adventurous, and sometimes painful and limitless life, avoiding future regret. When I'm gone, people may remember things about me. They may think of me with love and appreciation. They may have wonderful stories about me. But I'll be gone. I don't know any of that. And that's why when I read Jeff's words, I was inspired to share thoughts of regret in relation to my previous episode about authenticity. I have very few regrets, partly because I consider everything that I've done, any negative consequences of my action behaviors, as lessons to be learned. I can't regret something I learned from, something I can share with others to reduce their potential pain. I was really shy when I was younger. I missed opportunities for fun because I feared social judgment. I was deeply self-conscious. I didn't realize at the time that I might regret not volunteering to get on stage for a magic trick or to sing with someone, that I'd regret not getting up to dance with my friends or speak up in a group because I thought I'd embarrass myself. When I started singing with Rocket to Uranus, the 60s style rock band I've been performing with for 14 years, I was acutely self-conscious about outfit, my voice, even my facial expressions and the way my body, arms, and hands moved as I sang. It has taken me years to let go of my fear of embarrassment, my fear of judgment. I really hope it doesn't take you nearly as long. Or if you're my age or older, that you're learning this lesson now so you don't bring regret into your later years. After 3 sessions with one of my very first coaching clients years ago, I asked her, Nadine, at the end of our first session, you agreed to do these 2 small things before our next session. And when you hadn't done those things 2 weeks later, we agreed together that you'd do those small things, those tasks you estimated would take around 30 minutes before our 3rd session. And now here we are, 6 weeks since our first session, and you haven't done either of them. I understand you're busy, that you have a lot going on at work and in your personal life, and you hired me to help you get unstuck. You mentioned at our very first session how much you regret not starting this process a year ago, so you'd have made more progress by now. So here's my question. Are we going to have the same conversation a month from now? 6 months from now? A year? 5 years? Are you going to look back at this opportunity and continue to face regret, taking action right now? We stopped working together after that. She was going to stay stuck. I often think of episode 322 featuring my friend Nikki Campbell, a fitness and health coach, who said during a conversation about a client, I can't want this for you more than you want this for you. Listeners, it's your turn. If you have something in your head that you really want to do, I urge you to take action right away. As Mae West said, I only regret the things I didn't do. Here are a few steps that I take when I'm working on something that feels new and maybe a little scary. I tell my closest friends what I want to do, knowing they're going to ask how they can help, and they'll keep me accountable. They'll ask me the hard questions to make sure I stay clear about what I'm doing and why. I use a strategy my friend and business coach Nettie Owens taught me. I schedule 15 minutes every weekday to focus on that one thing. It's on my calendar. Those 15-minute focus times show up at different parts of my day, not the same time every day. I'm very intentional about what I do with advice, criticism, and ideas that I hear from others, especially if they've never done what I'm trying to do. I listen because sometimes a comment, even one that feels insulting, hurtful, maybe even wrong, can be a catalyst toward improvement and success. Whatever it is you're challenging yourself with, my friends, I'd love to hear about it and to support you as you leap out of your comfort zone. Thanks for listening to Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Tell Them Will. Visit elkinsconsulting.com to listen to that episode with Nikki Campbell. There's a link in the show notes associated with this episode. And schedule a call with me. Let's talk about how I can guide you or your team toward improved communication and satisfaction at work.
You must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.